the government because it's all falling apart. Looks like the Chagos Islands deal's falling apart. Rakib Ehsan is here. We're looking over all of the papers this morning. Keir Starmer going on about how the Tories got it wrong on immigration, but it's now still time to fix it because we must prove that Britain is not a hotel. Meanwhile, let's get a voice note from Andy.
Good morning, Mike. Andy in Portsmouth here. That David Lammy, what a joke. What a joke. Go away.
Yeah, I wish he would. I wish he'd go to the Chagos Islands and maybe chain himself to something for a while and see whether he could hang around there for a bit. Should we have a quick listen to David Lammy giving his answer on what he would do if Benjamin Netanyahu pitched up at Heathrow Airport? That's unbelievable, isn't it, Rakib? I mean, this guy has got one of the most important positions in government, an office of state, which has been held by many very esteemed people in the past, and there he is sitting in front of a committee going, and basically promising to arrest the leader of a free country like Israel just because the ICC says he should.
Well, I think that foreign states which are hostile towards Britain will be looking at that clip and thinking, we haven't got it too bad.
We haven't got to worry about that. Yeah. More problems for the internal people of this country. The Chief Inspector of Probation in England and Wales has made an intervention. Martin Jones is his name. He basically says that it is dangerous to release people from prison if they are violent sex offenders. Well, I could have told him that. No, he's now saying that basically the probation service has too few staff with too little experience managing too many cases, and the people that were released in September and October of this year by the government under their sort of early release scheme are a danger to society.
No, absolutely. I think firstly we have an overcrowded prison estate, and that's been a problem for some time.
Right.
I think that successive governments have been sleeping at the wheel on that front. On top of that, we have an under-resourced prison and probation service as well. But I think
how have we got so much money in the public sector, though?
Incredible.
And so much under-resourcing? Because we hear this all the time. Under-resourced police, under-resourced NHS, under-resourced probation service. What do we do with all the money?
I think that it clearly shows that we're quite wasteful when it comes to public resources.
Exactly.
And we're not utilising it in a very effective way at all. But this story is a very serious problem, and I'd like to mention a case as well which involves Abdul Rauf Abdullah.
Oh, yes, we mentioned this guy the other day.
Who was identified as a significant radicalising influence on Salman Abedi, who was behind the Islamist terrorist attack at the Manchester bombing during a Grande concert, which killed 22 people, the youngest victim being Safi Royce-Roussos, who was only 8 years of age. And I think what's incredible is that back in September, which isn't that long ago, he was presenting the case to be released, but the parole board had decided that he still posed a significant harm,
a significant risk to the public, and yet he's now been freed, right?
He was freed earlier this week.
And the thing that I don't understand about this guy in this case is that he's a joint citizen, I believe, of Libya and the UK.
It's been reported he's a dual national, British Libyan.
Dual national. So why can we not just deport him to Libya and say, look, thanks very much indeed, you've served your time, we don't want you in our prison system anymore, but we also don't want you in the country anymore. You know, get lost, go back to Libya.
No, I think many people will be asking that question. We're talking about someone here, he created a sort of hub of communication, ultimately helping would-be jihadists to travel to Syria to join ISIS.
Right.
Quite a dangerous character.
We shouldn't be hosting people like that in this country. It really absolutely staggers me. Let's get another voice note from Jamie.
This morning's show is just really reaffirming the lunacy of the Labour Party. We've got the deal in the Chagos Islands rightly looking like it's falling through because nobody wanted it. Not the Americans, not us, not the Chagos Islands, not Mauritius. The only people that wanted it were the Labour Party. And more lunacy of the Labour Party, you've got David Lammy saying that they are going to enact an arrest warrant against Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a democratically elected leader of one of our ally countries. But they will not arrest a single person who turns up at Dover this morning in a rubber dinghy.
It's a very good point that Jamie makes, isn't it? I mean, you know, we are not a hotel, according to Keir Starmer. Tragic, says Sharon from Staffordshire. How long did it take Keir to realise the UK is not a hotel? 14 years? I mean, it actually is a hotel. You know, the fact that she says it's not kind of points to the idea that it is, because so many people are coming here and being put up in hotels. We know the government's looking for more hotels to put more migrants in as they come across, because we had the storm at the weekend which stopped them, but it's calm again now. We'll have another couple of thousand before the end of December, I'd imagine.
No, absolutely, and I think that many people will be wondering why isn't illegal migration, why is it not criminalised?
Yeah.
Why is this not considered?
Well, if it's illegal,
if it's illegal to enter a country,
but they've actually, I mean, they're trying to change the name of it. They're trying to call it irregular migration, right? So they're taking out the
illegal element,
the illegal element of it. But it's illegal, you know. All these do-gooders who go, oh, but they're entitled to claim asylum. You know, they just have to come.
Yeah,
to the
I mean,
country.
I think the point there is that if you want to relocate to the UK as a refugee, you have to go through the proper processes.
Yeah, but then of course they say, oh, but there are no safe routes. Well, there are actually.
They are.
Yeah. Let's go back to Prime Minister's questions yesterday, because there was quite a lot going on yesterday, and obviously because it happens after the show finishes here, and when Julie Hartley-Brewer's on, you guys may not have heard this, but here's Stephen Flynn, who's the leader of the SNP in Westminster. Not my favourite character, but occasionally he does get it kind of right.
We're currently in the middle of BBC Anti-Scam Awareness Week, and of course the advice in that context is always simple. If you see a scam, you should report it. So with that in mind, can the Prime Minister advise the House? Is he aware of anyone who's promised to reduce energy bills only for them to increase? Is he aware of anyone who promised to back business only to tax business? And is he aware of anyone who promised to protect pensioners only to pick their pockets for their winter fuel allowance?
Well, it's very good to see.
Sorry, the gallery will not clap and not interrupt the proceedings. Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm very glad to see him in his seat in this House, as I'm sure many of his colleagues in Scotland share that sentiment. What I can point to is a government in Scotland that promised to take Scotland forward and took them backwards. So I can identify the first one. It's right there.
So Keir Starmer once again doesn't answer the question, because Stephen Flynn quite rightly points out that yes, they said that they would look after pensioners and then pick their pockets. Yes, they said they would help business and then they taxed them. And yes, they said that everything else that they were going to do, they have now not done.
No, absolutely, and we were also promised a politics of duty and service.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've seen
country first,
and so many. Yeah,
do you remember that?
Absolutely.
He doesn't say it much anymore, does he?
No, he really doesn't. And I think I think with the petition, for example, for calling a new general election, of course, it's not going to be a new general election. But I think that what it really shows is the degree of public anger and frustration towards the Labour government because of those broken promises.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Rachel Reeves, of course, is another kettle of fish altogether. She's been sort of missing in action, I would say, for the last few days. She went to this make a speech before the CBI. I was a bit shocked to discover the CBI actually didn't think much of the budget at all.
No.
Not only did not think much of it,
the country didn't think much of the budget
actually
either.
said it was going to do harm to most businesses, and that most businesses now will either not be hiring or will be firing people because they can't afford the new national insurance contributions hike, and also basically they will not be rolling out any kind of pay rises whatsoever to anyone because they can't afford to.
No, absolutely, and I think that I think Labour came up with this announcement earlier this week that they want to get Britain working again.
Yes.
They want to resolve Britain's worklessness crisis.
Yes.
Taxing businesses left, right and centre works totally against that. Because what you want businesses to do is to provide apprenticeships and training and all the rest of it. They need money to be able to do that.
Well, you've got to let them generate their own money and then plough it back into the business.
Absolutely. What you want businesses to generate wealth, and then they'll reinvest that wealth.
Of course.
In order to develop skills in the local domestic workforce.
But in the world of the socialists, right, that's wrong. You know, you are absolutely wrong to suggest that people should be able to make money, because what people should be able to do is make money, give it all to the government in tax, so the government can waste it on some ridiculous project or other. But let's have a look at Rachel Reeves, who finally emerged from behind the curtain yesterday to tell us all what she actually is qualified to do.
Well, I'm really proud to have worked as an economist at the Bank of England before I became a Member of Parliament, and also in financial services at Halifax Bank of Scotland. I've got the experience to do this job as Chancellor of the Exchequer, as well as the 14 years as I had as a Member of Parliament, chairing the Business Select Committee and as Shadow Chancellor. People should judge me on the job that I do, fixing the economy.
Yeah, at one point she actually says, you know, I studied economics at the London School of Economics. It just keeps saying I'm an economist. I mean, it's laughable.
I think this is the problem with the Labour.
You can't just keep saying I'm an economist and then whiz bang like the Wizard of Oz. You're an economist.
No, absolutely. The real question is how many people in the current Labour Parliamentary Party have actually owned a business?
Yeah.
How many have run a business?
None of them.
And I think this is a problem with...
None of them have.
And how many have also worked in agriculture? Probably not that many. No. And you see this scandal here with inheritance tax changes, which threatens to destroy British agriculture as we know it.
Exactly right. And there's a move this morning, as I say, to Holyhead, I believe. We're going to try and get in touch with some people on that convoy, because I went to Dover yesterday, the farmers, and they're not going to give up. You know, they're not going to go away.
Shouldn't.
And this is the problem for Keir Starmer. You know, there are people from every walk of life now against the government who are not happy about the things that they're doing, and they're not going to give it up.